Hey YouTube, this isn't really a video about anything in particular. I'm using my absolutely gorgeous all blue Washburn a10. Not sure exactly when this one's from. The serial number's on the back of the control switch cavity. So this one could be like late 70s, not really sure. Normally the serial number on these is on the back of the headstock up here, but there's no sign of it. Dusty. So this has been hanging on my wall from a 3. I recently got the A5 and I've had the white A10 for a bit longer. Yeah, so basically this one is because I got my Laney PC15 back from the shop and the guys fixed it. The place was called Fretronics. Where's the camera? Up there. Fretronics Audio. And he did a good job. I tried asking on a Facebook page, like musicians' advice to see if anyone could help me because of what it was doing. I probably noticed me complaining about it the last couple of weeks. Kind of sounding like the sea, even when there was nothing plugged into it. It was just like, and it just got louder and louder, and then eventually it sounded like it was going to explode. So I had to do something about it. A few folk advised me about changing valves, and one guy said he had the same problem. He changed the capacitors in it. And that fixed because he had the same problem. But I'm a wee bit scared of amps because there's lethal voltages in there, so you don't really want me going inside tube amps. Yeah, so I made a point of explaining what was wrong with it, and what was wrong with it apparently was one of the preamp valves was burst basically, and one of the preamp valves was the wrong kind of valve, which I don't really know anything about these things. I can't remember, does it even tell you in this what I put on it? 12 AX7s is what I got 2 of them replaced in it. So one of them was burst and one of them wasn't. A 12 AX7. Apparently it was one that was meant to give more gain, but that's not necessarily a good thing. So whatever, it's sounding fantastic. It's nice getting it back, and it's completely silent now, so well done. This guy's in C&C Music in Glasgow. He's like, if you go in the door of C&C Music, he's on the right hand side in a wee sort of office took it, so recommended. Yeah, so what else is new? I got a new fuzz pedal, which I'll probably do a video of now. I'll get my video fixing. A twin note, which is a red one. I don't know if it's actually going to show up in the video. It's down here, it's all connected in, but it's got like a pi symbol on it. It's a twin note pi fuzz, so I'd imagine it's a big muff. Which I really like. Good pedal, and it was incredibly cheap. It was something like 16 quid posted, and really you can't fault these things. Actually, I looked at it and I was looking at it, it was £16 something, and it was like, well I want, and eventually something else happened, I ended up not buying it, and then the following day I got an email saying, you know, if you've watched something on eBay and they reduced the price it tells you, so they'd knocked £1.50 off or something, so it was down at 15 quid, I was like, right, sod it, just buy it. And it's got 4 volumes on it, so it's got like a scoop, tone, and then level and gain, which I think is more than what a big muff does. And basically, I'm not really one for pedals, but if you just get one sound, that's kind of all the dials at sort of 12 o'clock, and I like it. I've got another pedal as well, a Digitech Trio band creator, which I made, and if you look at one of my biggest hitting videos is I made an FS3X foot switch, which was for the original Jam Man, which I don't know if you can probably just see at the bottom there. I've got the Jam Man stereo now, which has got lots of foot switches on it, but the original Jam Man only has 2. So if you stick this FS3X foot switch in, you get 3 extra buttons which do different things, and because this is Digitech, it works with it as well. So I've I've plugged that into that. So what this does is, if I can remember, I've not learned how to use it. I'll probably do a video in a couple of weeks. So this is just me arsing about with it, really. So what you can do is you can, how do you do it? You press it, right, and it's learning, and then you can put in chords. And it sticks on cheesy bass and drums. This button changes the middle button, does it? No, that button. Changes what the bass lines do. See, I'm now getting a bit confused. Right. Yeah. See, what it does is it's got a verse and a chorus thing on it, which I'm switching with the switches, but because I wrote on the switches loop, auto record and loop up, which is what it did when it was in the Jam Man, it doesn't do those things on this. The first one is like, there's a duplicate of the front button. The middle button changes it onto chorus, as in not chorus as in chorus the effect, chorus as in the chorus part of the song, and the other one changes what the bass is doing. So I pressed the wrong one. What I did was see what the extension switch means that I don't have to have this on the floor, which means I can adjust the things on it when it's sitting. I've basically stuck a plank of wood here, so this pedal is sitting hovering at reachable distance. So if I go back on, it's just the right hand one that changes the. No, it's not. It's the middle one that changes the sounds, right? Yeah, right. So. And that's in pop. I'll put it to blues. slow one. R&B. Just kill the bass. Rock pedal. This is an amazing guitar. Yeah, so I've got a wee bit more work to do with the trio pedal. It does seem to be of use. It's very interesting playing along with bass like that. My pal Andy, I don't know if he watches this, not being offensive, but he plays kind of bass like a proper bass player does, which I never have and don't do ever, so it's kind of weird playing along with sort of normal bass. I'm normally kind of like, I'm more of a Geezer Butler type, you know, sort of riffs and I've not worded that correctly. Anyway, I totally don't play this guitar enough. Yeah, so this has got the kind of like the Hawks up there, similar, maybe the same factory. So it's a Yamaki build. It's a, I thought it was a through neck, but I saw there was one that went for sale a couple of weeks ago, or last week even, that I couldn't afford. It was the natural colour, and it's not a through neck, even though it kind of looks like it should be. So it's some sort of set neck. Power sustained pickups, harmonic lock bridge, V-shaped triangular neck, which V-shaped necks are just amazing. They are just so, it makes them very thin at the edge, and also these are asymmetrical as well, which I think slashes. I seem to remember seeing something about slashes Les Paul's got an asymmetrical neck, so it's kind of that shape. You know, it's that distance there is less than that distance there, so it's kind of the same shape as your hand. It really does feel amazing. First time I noticed that was on the 8-string bass when I bought that. It's got the triangular neck, and so does that A10, and so does the A5. I don't think all the Washburn wings stage do though. I think later on, once Yamaki stopped making them, they made them less V-shaped. I'm sure someone said one time a guy came round to buy a bass off me, a Yamaha bass, about a year ago maybe, and this is when I was back in my house, and my staircase was full of guitars, so he's like, I don't know, 20 or something up the stairs, and the guy was absolutely speechless. He just walked in, he was just like, oh, that's an A20, oh, that's a Ibanez, what that? And he was like, he knew what every single one of the guitars was, which never really normally happens with me. Normally people come in and go, wow, and maybe they point out one and go, that's a, you know what I mean? This guy was right into his 80s guitars and he was pretty much speechless, and he said he had an A10 like in the 80s and his didn't have a triangular neck, so I'm going by that, it didn't have a triangular, they didn't always have triangular necks. That guy actually, I wonder if he still watches his videos, he was actually got a text message when he went home and he said, I'm sorry I was so speechless, it's like I just totally wasn't expecting that at your house. It's like somebody coming in and knowing what the guitars were because he was too excited. So if you ever watched this, you go back there and I'll show you some more. You actually get a chance when you know, so you know what to expect. Actually, I'm just rabbling on. If you're watching this, you're not interested in anything specific anyway, but I was in town just last week with my pal Aaron from Glenrothes. He comes down and looks at guitars, me and him going guitar shopping every Saturday. Not shopping because I don't buy any obviously, but he was looking at a Gibson Les Paul. We looked at the new Gibsons and they had one on the wall. It wasn't a new one, it was like a 58 or a 59 custom shop thing, and this thing was £4,700, so it was used. And he was like, took it down and said, look at it, so I had a wee shot of it, and in all honesty, not as good as the Hawk. It's kind of hard to just like maybe I'm a bit prejudiced against it, and I know, okay, Slash played one, Peter Green, all Gibson's got the history and that, but they're just not as good guitars, and eventually I'm kind of worried that people are going to start noticing that, and then I'm not going to be able to afford any of these because they're going to start costing what they should cost, not what they do cost. But I mean, even looking at guitars at £1,000 and stuff like that, I can't touch these. It's a different. I don't know how much one of these would cost new if you were to make it now, but it's just the build quality and the way they play, and maybe it's something to do with the fact that these are all 40 years old. Maybe that helps something. But I mean that Gibson 57 or 58, whatever it was made to look like it was 50 years old. So it's like the binding was sort of that colour, sort of yellowy thingy. But it doesn't look like that because that is white binding that's gone yellow over 40 years, not white binding that's been made to look like it's 40 years old. Yeah, so sorry Aaron if you're watching this, I was not impressed with your £4,700 guitar. It's like you're talking about being able to get a wall of these for that sort of money. And these are better. A big shout out to Elixir strings as well, which I've put on all my good guitars, and this guitar's probably not been played in a year, and the strings are still great. It's so worth buying Elixir strings if you are got a pile of guitars and you can maybe got them hanging on the wall. You don't play it for 6 months or a year or whatever, because these don't go rusty. They don't wear out. I think if you're playing gigs with it every night, they do wear out because the rubber coating eventually comes off. Probably about the same amount of time if you're playing them hard as like a normal set of strings. But if you've got a normal set of strings and you stick them on the guitar and then you sit it on the wall for 6 months and then play it, they've gone rusty. Whereas this one, they don't deteriorate. They only deteriorate with use, not with lack of use. This one doesn't have coil splits, which neither does the red one actually. The a10 model didn't. It's tempting to put them in, but it's like one of those things that am I trying to keep it original? And I suppose my other point is the white one I've got over here is knock it in over. Hey! This one didn't have the original pickups in it anyway when I got it. Just in the way. Yeah, this one didn't have the original pickups in it anyways. This has got Goto ones quite poor condition. Obviously someone's put a calorie in it, but this one does. I did put coil splits in this one because it wasn't original anyway. So if I want a coil split, I can always play this. This one's an 82. Some similarity between this one, which I think is maybe 78 or 79. This one 82. It's exactly the same guitar, even though it's got bits missing off it and stuff. But I think it goes to show the quality control, because these are handmade and made to such a high degree of accuracy and quality. They're all the same. Well, they're all absolutely amazing. I noticed that with the Hawks and all the Yamaki ones, basically they're the same because of pure pernickety as hell when they're making them, which I just don't think you get these days. You might on, I think maybe, I assume, like your top of the range PRSs and stuff are like that. I don't know, I've never played them. I mean, to be honest, I could never spend thousands of pounds on a guitar because well, apart from the fact I don't have thousands of pounds. Maybe if I was a dentist or something, I was only allowed one guitar in the wall with my wife, then it would be that way. But I mean, these are so much more fun. But I've just talked absolute shit for 22 minutes. So if you got this far, well done. You're obviously a serious malcoholic. I've never ever thought of that word before, but I like it. that's what I'll call my fan club, which consists of about well, count Simit, my girlfriend. She's I'm alcoholic. She's my fan club. Everyone else is maybe just a sort of partial one. Rock and roll.